out the thing, that they fry the corn dogs in, and her hair fell into the fryer, and her hair got fried, and everybody was making fun of her, and somehow, without meaning to, like, somebody nominated her to run for president, and she didn't even know because she's 16 and she's not paying attention to politics. But they have introduced the ability for people to vote on Twitter. So everybody's voting for her because she has a viral video. Like, it isn't, like, based on anything like she wanted to be president. And so there's only one issue out that I know of. So, I mean, you just asked me what I'm reading. That's probably going to disappoint people because it's not, like, going to. People always want me to, like, be the, what's the cutting edge, kind of black comics answer. So I can give you the cutting edge black comics answer, too. There's a book called 16 Bars, 4 Verses, or something like that. Let me look at it so I can tell you. It's not out yet, but that's something that people should be checking for. And it's going to have, like, basically a sampling of everything that's going on in that space. Let me keep and I'm not going to say this guy's name either who produced it because I'm sure I'll mispronounce it. It's called 4 Pages, 16 Bars, a visual mixtape. It's very like a mixture of all these different indie cats that's been doing stuff. A lot of independent guys are doing stuff, but they're not like getting out there. And so this book hopefully will be able to really push that out. At this point, to be fair, I'm not really that excited by anything that DC and Marvel are doing, although I do think it's great that they're finally, like, trying to, think that minorities are important. The editorial drive of mainstream comics, whereas, like, the writer who writes the comic that you read, I don't know if they really write the comic. You know what I mean? Like, you could be writing a comic. Like, I really like Black Panther, right? So Black Panther is doing something, and then all of a sudden, the story becomes about whatever big crossover that they're doing. Thanos is here, and everybody's got to stop what they're doing so Thanos can ruin their comic for a little while. And to me, I'm just like, okay, whatever. That stuff is very exciting to people who like it, though. So please read it if that's what you like.
Right.
What I try to do with GhettoManga is talk about the things that I like and what I think other people will like. But really more of what I like. And I think that so I really like the new Dr. Fate comic. I already know that comic people aren't going to really like it or whatever. It's drawn by Sonny Liu, who I adore, who came up, as far as I know, through, like, Vertigo. And he draws a very kind of anti-hero, like not heroic superheroes. But I really love his art, and the writing seems like it's going to be pretty funny. So I bought the first issue of that the other day, and I'm really enjoying it. I also bought Runaways, which is Marvel relaunches everything every 3 or 4 months now, so it's number one. But there's no reason to be excited by that. The thing that's exciting about it is that the art is by Sanford Green, a very, very talented black comic book artist who's emerging right now. One of the most fun things about what I do is, like, I kind of tend to catch on to people early. And then some of those people, their careers catch on and they become a big deal, and it makes it look like I knew it was going to happen or something. So Sanford Green is the guy making me look smart right now. So he's drawing Runaways, which is basically, right now Marvel is in the middle of this thing where the whole universe is destroyed and different realities have assembled into one planet called Battle World or something like that. And every book, they're doing these different books that have a theme. And in Runaways, there's a school for kid superheroes, I guess, like teenage superheroes. And these are basically the kids that, and oh, by the way, like the headmaster and the, like, person who owned the school is Dr. Doom. So Dr. Doom is my favorite Marvel supervillain, so that's good always. But, you know, so him being involved doesn't hurt, you know. But these kids are somehow running afoul of the school, so they're trouble. So they're going to eventually run away from the school, hence the name. And so, yeah, I'm just really excited about it because of Sanford Green, because I really like his work. He did a book called Rotten Apple. If people want to listen to something I say, he did a book called Rotten Apple for Dark Horse, which is a book that he created. And I recommend people get that. If you want another recommendation, if you read comics and you have good taste, you're probably already reading Saga. But if you don't have good taste and you're trying to have it, go get that. Saga is written by Brian K. Vaughan, who wrote Why the Last Man and another book I wrote, Ex Machina. Fabulous writer, and he's writing Saga, which is creator-owned for Image. It's probably a good idea to just check Image. Image is like the tip of the spear of indie comics, where I think all the important things are happening. And Image has brand name recognition, so some of their books actually survive. You gotta be pretty productive to get a deal in Image. So artists that are productive, those artists tend to be more productive or whatever. One of the things that's exciting is we're starting to see again, like creators from Marvel and DC do Image books and do what they really want. The thing that's and you know, Marvel and DC aren't creating new characters anymore. Like as far as like the new Spider-Man and the new Superman and Batman are not going to come from Marvel or DC because the old Superman and Batman are already there, with the exception of like Miles Morales, I guess. But everything is being created to carry on these icons because they're cash cows that got to be carried on. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but if you want to see new characters and new things being done, independent comics is probably where you're going to get that. For me, again, like knowing that the writer who writes a book that's a creator-owned book, every decision they make is their decision, not being imposed on them by a corporate superstructure or an editorial department. That makes, Invincible, or The Walking Dead more interesting to me because no matter what happens in the book, I know that it's because the writer, Robert Kirkman, he wanted that to happen. And since there's so many, independent superhero comics, even if you're all about superhero comics, you don't really need to read Marvel and DC comics. I'm not anti them, but it's just right now I don't really read a lot of their stuff. I just kind of pick up something and look at it, when I go to a comic shop and I go, oh, that looks interesting, and generally put it back down. Except Prez, which I never heard of, and I don't know if it's going to be a second issue or not. You know what I mean? But I literally just bought this week, and it wasn't on the new comics rack because I hadn't been to the comic shop in a while. It wasn't on a new comics rack. It was on the like the stuff that might have came out the previous week or the previous month. Like I couldn't tell. Not real old, not the brand new one. So I haven't. I just read it like yesterday and hadn't really had time to go be a nerd and research and find out more about what's going on, because you can't be a blogger if you're not a nerd. People always I've been blogging for a long time, and sometimes people. I remember one guy who was a new blogger. He's like, "How do you do it?" It was such a funny question to me because I'm like, it's just blogging. I mean, but how did I stick with GhettoManga for, now I guess 7-8 years. And it's just because I'm a nerd, and I like to think about like what I read and talk about it. And I'm a grown man now, and I got a job and budding business and a family and stuff. So I don't really have time to go socialize with other nerds and talk about stuff. So writing about it online and then socializing with people online in the middle of the night, my wife is asleep, that works just as good. Plus,
Yeah.
it helps me get more work.
Yeah.
It's called content marketing, but that's the whole thing. Go ahead.
Gotcha. So the last thing I'm gonna mention is it's two last things, and we're gonna keep it short because we're running out of time. But
Okay.
But short relative to how long you talk. One thing is number one, East of West. Have you read that?
What's that?
East of West, like the comic book, East of West.
No, I haven't.
No, you need to check it out.
Short answer. Boom.
Yeah, check it out. No, short answer. And I forget this other name. I was trying to look it up while you were talking. I have to go home and look at my stack. And I'm not sure what the name of the book is. I'm gonna have to send you a link later. But yeah, there's some books out there, like you said, independent. That's where you're gonna go look for the new stories. That's where you're gonna go look for the new heroes and new legends.
Absolutely. And again, like one of the things is like diversity. I think that the indie comics sphere can do diversity better than Marvel and DC can do it. Because you could tell your story, all your influences, not just like you're Mexican and you can tell about Mexicans, but everything that has influenced you can tell better than somebody who hasn't really been influenced by that, but they think somebody wants to hear that story. That's what is kind of happening now. It's like, oh, well, they want to know what Latinos think, so let's write a story about Latinos. Somebody find me a Latino writer, as opposed to in the indie trenches, like somebody's telling that story the best that they can. I would encourage fans anytime to go find that person. Buy all the Marvel and DC books you want, but go find that person. That's what GhettoManga is for. Is like I try to help people find other people. Because I think that those people are telling the story that you want to hear, and they're telling it because they're passionate about telling it, not because somebody told them that it's probably a good idea. You dig?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the last question is, what kind of advice do you have? 1 or 2, 3 points. For a young, what kind of advice do you have for a young artist who's looking at a career in comics and art and something creative? What kind of encouragement or words of wisdom would you give them?
Okay. All right. 2 things I would say. I started recently a Facebook page and a URL. It's called Starving Artists Anonymous. And it's about going from being a person that's an artist that can't make any money to trying to make a career. It's a journey. It's work in progress. The things that I concluded so far is, 1, you got to be productive because everything else, you got to be an artist first. You got to be very productive. You can't try and make one perfect thing. You got to make everything you can make. It helps you find yourself, it helps you find yourself, find your style, but it also legitimizes you if you're trying to convince people that the way you do it matters. So I'm not a hobbyist, I'm a professional, even if you're not making no money. Productivity. 1, make your art. 2, try and think of products that you can make from your art. Obviously, making comic books, making the comic books, or like digital downloads or whatever, make it available for people to buy. That's easy. For some artists, it's hard to figure out how to make products from their art. From some artists, it's easy. But I guarantee you, no matter what kind of art you make, you can make a product out of your art. Please do. That's 2. 3, you're going to have to learn and understand marketing. Now, unfortunately, you might have to read something that doesn't have nothing to do with art to do that. But I promise you, everybody that's successful in this world is successful to an extent that they understand, either intuitively or by learning, marketing.